Last night, I found myself caught in the middle of a tense, emotionally charged confrontation with a third party. A moment that, in its intensity, felt as if time had slowed down, and every word carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken truths. It wasn't merely a simple disagreement, it was a collision of deep seated emotions and long buried resentments that had been building over time until they could no longer be contained. The atmosphere in the room was heavy, almost suffocating, as if an invisible pressure was compressing every breath I took. Emotions were raw and palpable, with every exchanged word feeling like a dagger aimed directly at the heart of the issue. The space between us became thick with tension, so dense that it seemed you could cut through it with a knife. As voices escalated and accusations flew like arrows, I couldn't help but feel that this wasn't just about a single disagreement, but a culmination of unresolved issues that had been festering beneath the surface for far too long. At first, the argument seemed to revolve around minor grievances, a litany of everyday frustrations that could easily have been brushed aside if not for the intensity of the emotions involved. However, as the conversation progressed, it quickly became clear that this confrontation was rooted in something far deeper. The words exchanged were not simply about who was right or wrong in that moment. They were about personal shortcomings, unspoken truths, and hidden wounds that had accumulated over years of misunderstandings and unmet expectations. I found myself questioning everything: my beliefs, my values, and even my identity. In the midst of this chaos, she unleashed a barrage of words that cut deep, claiming that I was incapable of love and caring, that I had failed to show up in the way those who truly mattered deserved. Hearing those words was like being struck by a relentless storm, each syllable shattering the carefully constructed image I had of myself. For as long as I could remember, I had prided myself on being empathetic, nurturing, and deeply committed to the people I loved. To have those qualities so ruthlessly called into question was both shocking and profoundly unsettling. In that heated moment, her words planted a seed of doubt in my mind. They forced me to confront the possibility that despite my best intentions, there might be parts of me that were falling short, areas where my actions did not align with the ideals I held so dear. It was a painful introspection, one that made me wonder whether I had been inadvertently neglecting the emotional needs of those I cared about. Had I, in some subtle yet significant way, become complacent in the way I express love and care? Or was this simply the raw, unfiltered expression of hurt, amplified by the intensity of the moment? As the confrontation wore on, it became increasingly evident that the fight was not just about the present disagreement. It was a culmination of long held grievances and unresolved issues that had been quietly simmering beneath the surface for far too long. Each sharp exchange brought forth memories of past hurts, long after the immediate conflict had become a blur. I realized that these kinds of confrontations, as painful as they are, have a way of exposing the hidden cracks in our relationships and within ourselves. The raw energy of that night left me both shaken and reflective. I spent the next few hours replaying every moment in my mind, trying to decipher what had led us to that breaking point. The realization struck me that communication, or the lack thereof, had been a persistent enemy all along. In our haste to defend ourselves, we had forgotten the importance of truly listening to one another, a mistake that had allowed misunderstandings to grow into a full-blown conflict. In the aftermath of the fight, I felt as though I was left standing in the ruins of my own self-confidence. Every word that had been thrown in anger echoed in my mind, demanding an explanation for how I had become someone who could be accused of lacking love and care. It was not enough to simply brush off those harsh words as the product of a heated moment. I needed to confront them, to understand whether there was a kernel of truth hidden within the hurtful accusations. This introspection was neither easy nor comfortable, but it was necessary if I were to move forward and grow from the experience. I began to question my actions in past relationships. Were there moments when I had been too distant, too preoccupied, or simply not fully present? Had I taken for granted the simple yet profound ways in which love and care manifest in everyday life? These questions were not just about that singular confrontation, they spoke to a broader journey of self improvement and the constant evolution of who I am. It became clear to me that growth often comes through discomfort, and sometimes the people who challenge us the most are the ones who push us to become better versions of ourselves. As I sat in quiet reflection, I realized that this painful episode was also a turning point. It forced me to reevaluate not only how I interacted with others, but also how I treated myself. There is a profound difference between being self critical and being self aware, and the line between the two can often blur in moments of emotional vulnerability. The confrontation had exposed my deepest insecurities, but it also presented an opportunity, a chance to reassess my behavior and make conscious choices that align with the person I aspire to be. I recalled moments from my past where I had tried to show love and care, but perhaps not in the most effective or meaningful ways. Were there missed opportunities to connect on a deeper level? Could I have been more present, more patient, more understanding? These reflections did not diminish the pain of the confrontation, but they provided a roadmap for future growth. I recognized that real, lasting change would not come from denying my flaws or dismissing the hurtful words as mere noise. It would come from a genuine commitment to introspection and improvement. In the days that followed, I found myself revisiting that fateful night over and over in my mind. The memory of the heated exchange was both a wound and a lesson, a stark reminder of how easily misunderstanding can escalate into something much larger if left unchecked. I started to see the patterns in my behavior, the subtle ways in which I might have contributed to the breakdown in communication. It was as if the confrontation had held up a mirror, forcing me to confront aspects of myself that I had long ignored. One of the most challenging realizations was understanding that sometimes, even when we believe we are doing our best, there is always room for improvement. Love and care are not static qualities. They are dynamic and ever evolving, requiring constant attention and nurturing. It became clear that to truly honor the relationships that matter, I needed to be as present for myself as I was for others. This meant not only addressing my shortcomings, but also embracing the discomfort of change. In the quiet moments of reflection, I began to formulate a plan for how I could better align my actions with my values. I realized that the first step was to forgive myself for past missteps and to accept that growth is a journey marked by both progress and setbacks. The confrontation, as painful as it was, had opened my eyes to the possibility of a more authentic and compassionate way of living. I resolved to communicate more openly, to listen with genuine empathy, and to hold myself accountable for the ways in which my actions impact those around me. There is a bittersweet clarity that often follows such turbulent moments, a clarity born not of anger or resentment, but of the realization that every painful experience is an invitation to learn and evolve. The words that had once stung so deeply now served as catalysts for introspection and change. I began to understand that being challenged on who I am does not diminish my worth, rather, it offers a rare opportunity to refine and strengthen the very qualities I hold dear. Ultimately, what started as an emotionally charged battle of words evolved into a profound journey of self discovery. It underscored the importance of vulnerability, not as a weakness, but as a necessary part of growth. The confrontation taught me that love, care, and empathy are not merely traits to be possessed. They are practices to be continually cultivated. It is in the midst of our darkest and most challenging moments that we often find the light of our true selves. Now, as I sit here reflecting on that turbulent night, I feel a sense of cautious hope. The scars of the confrontation remain, a permanent reminder of the hurtful words and the harsh truths they revealed. But alongside those scars is a newfound determination to be better, to be more present, more understanding, and more committed to the journey of self improvement. I acknowledge that I still have a long way to go, that there will be moments of doubt and struggle, but I also know that each step forward is a step toward a deeper understanding of who I truly am. In sharing this story, I hope that you too can recognize the transformative power of even the most painful experiences. Sometimes, it takes a harsh confrontation to strip away the illusions we cling to and to reveal the parts of ourselves that need healing and attention. I invite you to join me in this ongoing journey of self reflection and growth, an invitation to listen, to learn, and to transform adversity into a catalyst for positive change. This experience has taught me that life's most defining moments often come wrapped in the guise of conflict and discomfort. They challenge us to question our assumptions, to re examine our beliefs, and to embrace the complexity of our emotions. And while the journey may be fraught with pain, it is also filled with the promise of renewal, understanding, and ultimately, a more authentic way of living. So, as I move forward from this defining moment, I carry with me not just the memory of a painful confrontation, but also the lessons it imparted. I remain committed to the idea that every interaction, no matter how charged or challenging, is an opportunity to connect more deeply with others, with our inner selves, and with the boundless capacity for growth that lies within each of us.